Welcome back to a brand new entertainment roundup. I'm J77. It is good to be back. Before I get started, this is pretty much for the Matic Expression crowd, my fellow expressionists. I will be doing another video very shortly to explain what's happened to me. Some of you guys who have followed me on Twitter, I did mention some of the events that has happened, and some of you guys already knew the happy ending between me and my new found family with my wife to be and my daughter. It is something that has been one hell of a roller coaster ride. And at first, I wasn't too sure if I was going to talk about it because it's just a personal matter. But I feel that the story I have to tell has to be shared with everyone. And I feel that that's the only way to best to share it with everyone is to become open about my experience, about what has happened to both me and the effects that happened to me as well as my family, and to give advice for those who has loved ones dealing with addiction. Doesn't matter what it is. It's an addiction, period. And two, and this is also very important, for those who are addictive, to let them understand, not to judge them, not to bash them, not to basically throw them on the side of the curve, but to understand that their addiction is not just affecting you, but is affecting everyone around you. Your pain, whatever that may be, for whatever was causing you to continue to do what you do and not seek help, is also becoming the family pain. And if you're not careful, it can be a road that you can never return to. But I will talk about that in a more appropriate manner. Right now, I want to talk to all of you guys here. You guys have been wondering. It's been almost 3 years since I did a last entertainment roundup. And now that I got a schedule and some new resources, thanks to my wife, who wanted to make sure I stay out of the coffee shop, and rightfully so, because I have a family to support. This is the best way to actually do it. I'm at home. I'm recording, and at home I will be posting my stuff at home. I will still do a classic every now and then, a special cafe edition of Entertainment Roundup, as well as West News. And God knows how long I haven't done the West News, and with the stuff going on in politics, I got to get back in the game with that. But I want to start off with the Entertainment Roundup. I want to start off with that because there's a lot of stories that's been happening across the board. I'm going to start with the gaming world, which in the last few years, since this whole DLC until now, the gaming industry has been in the light, and not in a very positive way. EA has always been a not so positive experience for people. It has become pretty much a pandemic throughout the gaming industry, and I'm talking about the way these games are being released. I don't even buy that we have $60 games anymore. I don't even buy that we have games, period, and I'll get to that in a minute. But needless to say, in the last 2 years, I have been watching YouTube. I have been commenting on YouTube as much as I want to. I haven't been posting videos due to personal matters, but I've been keeping myself in the loop of what's going on, because one thing I will say about YouTubers, especially gamers, if you find the right channel, they can be very knowledgeable and they can keep you in the loop as what's going on, especially some of the events that is happening, both good and bad. And I owe Review Tech USA a lot of credit. I owe Young Yang, who I became a new subscriber to, I owe him a lot of credit. The Corn League, which I accidentally found him from another situation a long time ago, but I love his work. I may not agree with all his work, but I also love what he does. These guys and more has been very good of keeping people informed, as well as Angry Joe, and I've been a long time fan of his. From almost from the beginning when I started YouTube. They have done a very good job keeping an honest opinion, whether you agree with it or not, and just keeping people in the loop of the status of where the gaming industry is right now. And I gotta tell you right now, in my own opinion, in my own voice, I'm not impressed. I am not happy with the way the gaming industry has become. I'm not happy in how they treat the gaming industry in terms of profit over qualities, I'm just not very, very happy. And it has become that situation for a very long time. This is something that I really, really have had a problem with for a very long time. That the gaming industry has really became less about the games and the quality about the games, and just more about how we can nickel and dime people um, wherever which way we can. Now, keep in mind, in the 80s and 90s, even early 2000s, we had bad games. We had games that were so atrocious that I would never play again. One of them happened to be The Shadow, Resident Evil Survivor, and so on. They have always had our share of bad games, but we always had a share of good games. But good or bad, the one thing I will say about it, when I pay for a game, it was still a complete game. It may be a mess at many times, but it was still a complete game. I never had to worry about having an incomplete game. Now, with the way games are online, with the way they are treating DLCs, with the way they're treating just about everything, to buy a $60 game, or let's not even call it $60 games, but to say the special editions that they throw out there, or the premium package they throw out there, regardless of how much they are, they're still expensive, and yet I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident that I'm getting a complete game. I don't feel that the gaming industry is giving me what I pay for, and they can justify every last thing about, well, we're gonna give you updates later on. I still feel if I am not getting a game where I can complete from the very beginning, I sit down and play, I feel I'm being ripped off. I've seen this a lot with these games, and they're becoming justified because they feel, well, we can update and everything else and so on and so on. And my feeling is, why do you need to update something that should be there already? Why is this thing not? Why is certain levels not there? Why do I have to be online all the time? Why does it have to only be multiplayer? Why can't I play a single player campaign? No, believe it or not, I do not like online gaming. But the simple fact is, I don't want to play with strangers unless I know who that stranger is, like a family member or a friend of mine's that we both hang out. I don't want to play with total strangers and hear them arguing and cursing and saying racial slurs of all kinds on my headphone jack. I'd rather just play by myself, enjoy the experience by myself, and that's it. I don't like online gaming. Not to say this is totally bad, but I don't feel that all these games should be multiplayer games. There should be some emphasis on single player, and a lot of these publishers are getting away from that. Not because they feel, I heard what they said, there's no market there for single player play. That's not true. There's always going to be a market for single player players. If the game is great, people will talk about it, people will praise it, people will buy it. It's all about the quality of the game. Spider-Man has proven that, along with so many other title games in the last year. Single players is not the problem. The problem is the publishers pushing to make more money, and the best way to do it is having these battle royales, always online, and to me, that's the problem. All right, that's a huge problem. A problem that it's not gonna go away anytime soon. And what's scary about this, and I know somebody will criticize me and say I don't know what to talk about, but hear me out. What's crazy about it is, in many ways, it's the consumer's fault. It's the gamer's fault, because from the very beginning, they've been planning this with the DLCs. I am not a fan of downloadable content for one reason only. I knew it will lead to something else. I knew it will lead to a greedy pattern leading us to where we are now. Right? The industry is not caring about the quality anymore. They need to make money. Even if a game sold brilliantly and made gangbusters and made tons and tons of money just on the retail sale alone, is never going to be enough for these shareholders. They want more, and therefore that's why we have these microtransactions, downloadable contents, stuff that normally you will have on the game already. Now we got to get it individually. The fact that I heard stories that you have to buy the ending to a game. Think about it, an ending that should be already there. You have to buy into that. It makes me sick. It's one of the reasons why I have not been a next generation gamer right now. I don't like the state of the game, and I refuse to pay top dollar for game one I can't play without being offline, and B, that I have to play with other people whether I want to or not. C, knowing, and this is most important, why I don't want to, support this type of practice, is because number one, I don't no longer own the game. I am buying a game to rent a game, and I gotta pray that game will work when I play it. What's the point of paying $60 or $90 or $100+ for a game that's not even complete? That if I want to have the full experience, I have to fork up $200 more or $300 more, or in many cases, $1,000 more. I'm looking at you, FIFA. And this is the whole problem that I have with the gaming industry as a whole. You're no longer buying these games. You're basically leasing these games. You're leasing an incomplete game, and in due time, if they feel like it, they'll update it to make it more complete. But that's pretty much it. Perfect example: Sea of Thieves, No Man's Sky, Anthem, Fallout 76. These games were incomplete, rushed. They knew it was incomplete, and they rushed it out anyway, giving the total disaster and a total negativity from both gamers and reviewers alike. And yet it was all completely by design, and I'm like getting tired of it. The people behind Fallout 76 basically admitted it was not complete, and they rushed it out anyway. What that tells you about how they feel about their games and quality. And then brag about it, saying that don't worry, the community will fix it anyway. That should not be the community's responsibility. It should be the publisher's responsibility to make sure we have a complete game, a satisfying game. Especially when people are shelling out hundreds of dollars to play these games. And yet the sad part about it is that we do have the power to stop them. Now, of course, there's regulators coming out right now with the government. The United States, the government is getting involved. I know other countries out there have already got involved or on the process of getting involved. There is this debate about loot crates and everything else. You heard what the representative EA said. They're not loot crate but surprise mechanics, which is the most biggest joke I ever heard in my life. But the funny part about it is it all still comes back to the consumers. It still comes to the consumers. As long as we buy into these practices, as long as we shell out the money for these skins and all that other stuff, no matter how, they will still do it. No matter how frustrated we will get, they will still do it because they know the money's there. That's the only reason why they're still doing this practice. They know people out there will, buy into this. They will continue to pay money for it. And there's a $1 billion profit to be made, so why not? They'll be stupid enough not to continue it. As long as people are willing to pay for it, why not? The only way they will stop or acknowledge this, or acknowledge that this practice is predatory, is people will stop and literally not buy their stuff anymore, not buy their games. But that simply is not going to happen. Simply not going to happen. So to me, that's where the problem lies, truly. The consumers need to put their foot down. And as long as they continue to buy into it, they can get mad, they can get angry, but on the end of the day, they're not going to see your angry criticism, or how many blogs I made, or how many videos I made, or how many videos you made. They're going to see the dollar signs. This person is mad, these people is mad, but what about the group of people selling this? Oh, they're still buying? Don't worry about it. It will pass through. Now, I will say one thing that I think the government should get involved with, and I think that the ratings board, which I must be honest, I think it's gotten comparatively weakened over the past few years to the point where even some publishers don't even use their ratings anymore. Now, I don't know how big is the ratings board when I see a different rating for the same game from two different platforms. That's not a good sign when you see that. When you're supposed to be one body to rate these games and you don't see all these games being rated the same way, that's a problem. But that's a story for another day. It really is. But I do feel that the government should get involved for one thing and one thing only. When you have a game that clearly has a mechanic that allows to be allowed to purchase stuff through their games, and their game is namely targeted towards children, you cannot have that. And I do believe that the parents, no matter what country you're in, because this is a global situation, has the right to be angry and frustrated, because again, kids will be kids. They're going to figure out something that you in the game that you're not gonna that you cannot prevent. And personally, the fact that there's that simple to access these kind of skins and extra microtransactions is appalling. There's stories across the globe saying how these kids have gotten a hold of their parents' debit card or whatever, and just basically just wiped them out. It shouldn't have been that easy. I will say this though, Nintendo at least understand that the situation, and it did help a group of people, I think a family member, get their money back, but not the publishers. They are putting it squarely on the family. But the problem is, yes, they should have some responsibility, but also the publishers should all have responsibility too. If your game is targeted for kids, then it shouldn't have been. Then it has to be extra provision to make sure these kids doesn't fall prey to these kind of practices. Period. And they're not doing it. And the fact is that if there is that kind of practice, that kind of mechanic in your games, it shouldn't be rated E. I don't care what game it is. It shouldn't be rated E. There should be a warning sign that says, hey, is this here? You need to be aware of that. Otherwise, what's the point of having a damn rating system? And before anybody says they can't do that, trust me, I played games where they had a simulated gambling on it. Caesar's Palace was a rated E game, but it also had a warning sign saying simulated gambling, caution. Parents, be wary of this. This is not really a game for kids. The only reason why this is rated E is because it's not a violent game. But it does have simulated gambling in it. That was on that warning sign. You don't see that in sports games. Now you're seeing it in games that I don't know why they should be there. Crash. You think only teenagers and adults play that? There are a lot of kids who play Crash. And this is the problem. It's seeping into games. In my opinion, should have no business being there. And it really is letting these kids fall prey to a practice that is predatory. And to me, that cannot, and that's unacceptable. I don't care what EA says. I don't care what any publisher who uses these type of practices in these games is unacceptable. But other than that, to me, when it comes to games that are built for all audiences, and I'm hearing the frustration, the power is in your hands. You don't want to continue to do these practices? The answer is very simple. Just don't buy the game. Don't buy the game. What they're going to do, force, they're eventually going to stop because they're going to lose money. They're doing it because, number one, they know they're making money. And they're not going to stop because that's their bread and butter. What's your opinion about this? I'd love to hear what you got to say. I'm going to continue on because I spend a majority of this topic on that, and I don't want this to be the only thing I want to talk about because YouTube is changing, and depends on what fence you are. You either are for the change or you're not for the change. Personally, I say this, as much as I welcome some of the changes that they are doing, like not making it as simple for copyright owners to actually claim a video just because there was like 3 seconds of music on there, because I had a background music that was not even my fault, but you know, I was in a cafe and they was playing music. You'd be surprised how quickly some of my stuff got even banned from other states. I never had a strike. That was the one thing I would say. Not that it really matters, but the point being is that for those who are making a living, I can understand their frustration. I don't make a living on YouTube. So all if they're claiming something, then what they're gonna get? 0.00 cents. They're not making money on my videos. They never had. That's why I didn't really bother finding it. I did put a couple of things on it, but I'm not big enough, nowhere close to some of the other guys, for YouTube to care. But some recent news that came about that may finally begin to shift YouTube's way of dealing with copyright claims, and I think it's an improvement, but I still feel that as long as YouTube stays hands off in terms of how they deal with these videos, and let a robot who really don't have any pulse in what's going on and just going by a system that has been programmed and not really dealing it on a case-by-case basis, it's just basically window dressing. I think YouTube needs to take a firm look of their policies, really a firm look, and they need to start really looking and evaluating how these copyright situations going. Now, of course, this is also due to the fact that they are suing a YouTuber. I know that they have brought this up. I believe it was Rich of Review Tech USA. I'm pretty sure that was him that brought it up. I don't think Young Yang was bringing it up. I'm pretty sure it was Rich. But I feel that was one of the main issues here. They're going after him hard, and the reason why is, besides trying to extort people after he done copyright claim them and basically made a threat, which I think is disgusting in its own right. But there was a whole lot of stuff that they have listed that just, yeah, this is not acceptable. But to me, it was due to the fact that YouTube had a system that really was, let's put it away, it was against the creators. And I have been critical on them for a long time for that, because number one, they never really truly wanted to address the issue head on. One of the reasons is they wanted to try and please the sponsors, the corporate sponsors, who, let's be honest, are paying the bills around YouTube, around Google. You know, somebody has to pay the bills. So they need the commercials, and that's the term of family-friendly content, which I think is a joke, because it's, even free TV don't have family-friendly content anymore. Home Purvis is nowhere near family-friendly. Let's be real. They don't have a problem shoving Twinkies and Labrisco stuff in their time slot. Just saying. But I understand the pressure that they're dealing with. I understand it. My problem is that they don't do enough to address the culture of YouTube. And YouTube is a very wild culture. I'm just keeping it out there. But it's that wild culture at the same time. Besides some of the bad, you get a lot of good. Especially when it comes to media. And I feel that YouTube has taken direction that is not YouTube. A perfect example is that YouTube Rewind, and I never seen such negative on a YouTube on something that was supposed to be for the YouTubers, those who made the community possible. The fact is that they have this convention that's in New York, the Summit, where a lot of big top YouTubers go and to address the issues, yet it doesn't seem to be addressed. And when these big time YouTubers come on, they were told to keep it a secret. Why? This concerns me just as much as anybody else. I may not be Angry Joe. I may not be a PewDiePie. I may not be any of these big time YouTubers that got the gold button. I probably never will be that way. That's fine. But I still want to know what's going on. I still want to know if any major changes. Why keep that a secret? Why make this into only this small group should know what's going on, and everybody else, well, we just gotta guess what YouTube's gonna do next? That don't make any sense, and that's why I never really was for these summits, because I feel it's only to please the diest of the best of the best. And it brought more of a elitist where it should not be necessary. Besides looking at these brilliant YouTubers, which I have nothing but respect for, and I wish all the best for their success. I have no problem with that. But I'm still part of the YouTube community. What affects me will also affect them, and I feel they need to address all of us, not just one, a group, small group, but all of us. And I think they can just make a video and have it posted on every last major channel. Hey, this is what's going on. This is what you should be aware of, and that's it. But sometimes they be so cryptic and they just filter it out later on, and then they seem so surprised at the negativity they have, because people feel that you're doing it out of the blue. If this was, especially if it was already planned, but now you all of a sudden you're just changing it and don't give nobody to get used to the change, and all of a sudden we get hit by either these new guideline rules to please a certain group of people that don't even understand that the platform is outrageous. I thought YouTube have done a bad job of it. Now we got some new news, and it looks like they're trying, and I say trying, and I got to give them credit for trying, to alleviate some of the issues, especially since there's a group of people actually coming together and make YouTube Union. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if that's going to actually make a difference. I can't say. This is still a new thing. I hope it does. I hope it does a better job representing not just a certain group of YouTubers, but all YouTubers, big and small. And finally finally bring some responsibility and even accountability, not just for those who have used the YouTube platform to attack other YouTubers unjustly, may I ask, in terms of copyright claims, but those who abuse it just to get the money out of these YouTubers, which is a very big problem. I hope this will also address other things, like what is really should be, what can and we cannot do on YouTube, because this has been a major issue. What will qualify us getting demonetized? I have it done in bullet points and let it be consistent. The one thing I had always had a problem with YouTube is consistency. We want everybody to be as friendly and clean as possible. I'm sorry to tell you, this is not going to happen. Not going to happen. But at least give us an option, if we can't, option to at least address some of the major issues in a more appropriate way than just basically throwing this out there and then hoping things will work for the best. Because one thing YouTube does, they throw stuff out there and they seem shocked that when things don't really pan out. It's because, number one, you never gave us an idea of what's going on. I think if people understand what's going on, what's truly going on, and not have a certain group of people know, and they can't say anything because you don't want them to say anything, it sounds a little shady in my opinion. But at least this, what I've been hearing in the news, that they are trying to go on the side of the creators, because that's one thing a lot of people was always saying, they're not really siding with the creators anymore. They're really going for for big business. I don't think that is the case. I think there's something more going on, and it has to do with the fact is they got to keep the sponsors happy, because number one, they're the ones that really is bringing in the meat. Without the sponsors, there's no money going in, and God knows it'll only be a matter of time before the lights go out. Now, we don't know how much their revenue is generated on their own, but let's be honest, their rival Blimp was just as successful, but they couldn't maintain a steady on their site because, one, the money was poured in, two, yes, the ad block played a big part, but they met too many people in, and there was not enough revenue generated out. Does happen. So I hope this is it sounds like they're making an improvement. They're doing a much better job in trying to improve the relationship than to Twitch is. And oh God, Twitch got some issues. Twitch got some serious issues, guys. I'm glad I'm not a Twitch streamer. Not saying that that I have nothing against Twitch streamers. It's just, if that's how they're gonna treat certain people, you know, give everybody special treatment while everybody else has to follow the rules that they set up. I don't want to be involved in that. I do not want to be involved in that whatsoever. But what YouTube is doing with you know, making sure that that creators have a chance to fix the problems before they stuff get demonetized, not having you know, copyright creators finding any little thing to demonetize or take a claim to a video that they don't even have the music, but the music's playing in the background, or there's something passing the car. I think that's a welcome I think that's a positive, not a negative. I think that's something that that needed to be addressed because again, it's the little things. Even music that was supposed to be royalty free, people was getting hit, which makes no sense. Yeah, I had my own video claim for music that was mine. I made it from a stupid music maker. I had to pull that out because number one, I refused to give somebody money for something I made. It wasn't even a copyright infringement. It was mine. How the hell did you guys claim something that I made myself? You see what I'm getting at, guys? This is what I'm talking about. What's your opinion about this? I'm going through my own thoughts and my own feelings on this. That's why you ain't seeing any newspaper clippings in front of me. I'm actually just telling you how I felt when I was reading it, because I do feel that it needs to be talked about. I'm not a fan of YouTube in terms of how they deal with their policies. I'm just not. I'm also not stupid enough to have that be my major source of income. Those who have, I got nothing against you. God bless you. But understand that you're at risk. You're not in control of your finance. YouTube is. You're at the mercy of what they do. And the way they've been doing things, it's just been, it's been a seesaw ride for them. It really is. But this is what happens when money's been put in the equation. So where do I start first with the movies? And by the way, the flashback reviews are coming back, well with some other reviews that I have planned. But a lot of people have already said this has been a disastrous year for films. Movies have been bombing left and right. I don't see it that way. I think as many bombs as there have, and there has been a few bombs, there has also been a few hits. I actually think that the film that surprised me was Hobbs and Shaw, even though people said it still underperformed. The fact that they made $100 million in their first weekend and they're still going strong, that tells me it's a hit. There are other films that, what cost Avengers Endgame was a huge smash success. Captain Marvel, despite some people with the SHW, anti-SHW situation going on with that film, or may I say the actress with that film became a hit. So I don't consider this to be a major disappointment. I think the films that did bomb, I wasn't really shocked that it bombed. Hellboy got rebooted, and even though it was supposed to be edgier, nobody really knew what they was going to get out of this new take on Hellboy, and B, an actor who is replacing someone who a lot of people still consider to be the real Hellboy. Hellman is still, in many eyes, the original Hellboy. He's been in the 2 films, and people actually liked the 2 films, despite some of the cheesiness that was going on. I actually thought the first one was okay. The second one, I'm a little mixed on it, but it was still good. I had fun. I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again. This film, I think it proves that just because you have an R-rated film and you're gory, it doesn't mean much if you don't have a sensible story to go behind it. Look at Die Hard, perfect example of that. But that was the film that bombed. Godzilla, wasn't really shocked about it because I think that Godzilla only caters to a very strong hardcore fan. It does have a strong fan base, but I didn't think it was enough to generate the money that they was hoping for. Man in Black, I wasn't surprised, and it's because I think it ran its course. I think the third one should have been the last one. 2, nothing against the 2 actors there, but from what I saw about the trailer, they didn't really give me any reason to see the film, and that was another thing. Trailers, it's like almost they're either done right or they're done terribly. I don't see a middle ground here. For example, I was not thrilled of the Pet Sematary trailer. The teaser was not bad, but the second trailer, the one that actually revealed the bait and switch, it turned me off. I didn't want to watch the movie after that. I didn't care what the film was after that. You gave me too much. I'm gonna say like now, the first and final trailer was funny they say final trailer because obviously not giving us any more. But the first trailer got me interested. Second trailer did it perfectly. Didn't give me too much, and it got me wanting to see this film. Kudos to those who made that trailer. But the Man in Black trailer didn't really interest me. I didn't find the appeal of it. I mean, I love the two performers that was in there. I think both of them are great at what they do. It's just the film didn't appeal to me, and funny and strangely enough, it didn't appeal to anybody else either. And we're coming at a time where we have, films like John Wick, the Avengers, films that got our attention quickly and got good trailers that want us to go see their films as fast as possible. It didn't do a good job standing out. Hobbs & Shaw, the most ridiculous trailer I've ever seen this year, had a better job standing out than anything else. And boy, do they have issues. Makes me wonder how fast, 9 is going to look. Because right now, from what I'm hearing from behind the scenes, I'm not really happy about. But I'll save that for another time. So that's my feeling on that whole thing. I just think that the film that bombed, I wasn't surprised that it bombed. I wasn't even surprised that Dark Phoenix bombed. I was shocked they made another X-Men film. I thought Logan would have been the last one. But I saw New Mutant, that got pushed back. How many times now? They got pushed back 2 years. I was shocked that they didn't put that film out right now. And you can't really blame that on Disney. I blame it more on the people behind 20th Century Fox. If they was scared of what Disney was going to do, that's on them, not on Disney. Because Disney didn't take over yet at the time. But Dark Phoenix wasn't shocked. And no one should be, because one, from what I understand, the studio didn't have confidence in the film. If they didn't have confidence in the film, why did you greenlight it? It was very clear from what I've seen, the actors wasn't into it. The script wasn't almost there. And obviously, I don't even know if I even found the timeline anymore. It was just a mess. And people saw it through the trailer. I'm not surprised. And I'm being honest with you. Technically, from a lot of people I talked to, that had been diehard X-Men fans, they felt Logan was the last film. They thought Logan was the last film. Is it the worst of the X-Men movies? Honestly, no. I still have X-Men Origin Wolverine as my #1 worst X-Men film. But this is a very good second. It was worse than the X-Men that everybody seems to hate. I didn't understand why. I can understand the characters being killed off, but I felt that at least with Last Stand, there was a sensible story and a sense of urgency that I actually followed. I actually like Kelsey Grammer as Beast. I thought that that Magneto was superb in that film. I thought that the fighting sequence was good, and it gave a very good conclusion of the original trilogy. Now, my biggest problem is they kill off half the cast that was in it. I did not think people wanted to see that happen. But I felt for the most part, there was a lot of good in that movie that I felt justified a 3-star rating. I'm being honest with you. There's no justification in this. This was just bad. This was just bad. And you can tell which actor was phoning in and which actors just didn't want to be there. They was just there for the paycheck. The difference between phoning it in and just there for a paycheck, by the way, there is. Michael Fassbender, Magneto, love him, but he was not interested in this film. He just went with the flow. Jennifer Lawrence had no business coming back. It was clear that she was there for the paycheck. She looked bored as hell. And her design this time around, ugh. But with that situation, with the trailer, with the behind-the-scenes mishap, are you shocked that that film didn't do well? I'm not. Not at all. So, yeah. That's just my feeling on it. I just felt that a lot of films that came out, when I saw the list, when I saw the first half of the list, I said, okay, these films are going to be successful, even though they're not technically summer films. I felt they're going to be deemed as successful, and rightfully so. They were successful. And there were films in between that were not superhero films, that were not film that has sequels that were just as good. They came out pretty good. There were films that actually pretty much gave a different scenario. Brightburn wasn't a failure. So I am not. I don't know what to say about that, other than it really is depending on the role of what these films line up on. I don't think they're suffering from sequelitis. There wasn't that many sequels that came out this year. Not the case. John Wick 3 should have failed, and it didn't. It was very highly praised. So, again, I just think it was a mixed bag for a lot of people. Film that came out didn't interest people. Nobody was interested in the Phoenix. Only diehard fans saw Godzilla. There was no appeal in the MIB International. Hellboy had a lot to prove. Word of mouth was not good for that film. Didn't help that it was bombed. It bombed hard with the critics. So yeah, I don't see how these films would have succeeded. I think there were other films that were much better and actually cheaper to produce that actually did very well and it was very successful. I'm not knocking that, but you guys may feel differently. I'd like to hear your opinion. I'd like to hear what you got to say. Boy, it's fun to do this again. It is very fun to do this again. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I'm going to do that individually. I want to do the entertainment roundup first. Get that back. Get the feeling back. If I don't do sound rusty, apologize in advance. But I do want to get these things out pretty much unfiltered as well, because I do like to do with an opinion. I don't like to just read off what I've said, and if I do, I will make sure to give credit for those there, and I'll still give my opinion on what has been said. This is just a feedback for all of you guys who are used to hearing me, and see what I have to work on, because again, it has been a long time. If you look at the date between my last entertainment roundup and this one, you see it has been a while. So bear with me. But it's good to be here, and I hope you guys will join me back soon. To my friends at Mad Expression, do look for that video, because I do want to talk about some of the stuff that's been going on, and I will do that. I will make the time to do that. But until then, this is J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.